Hello, very warm welcome. Let's talk about Alex Albon, number 23. He will race in DTM and will have a reserve driver role for Red Bull. Albon, DTM drive about keeping fit, not a path back to F1. So basically what Albon is saying, he could win the championship and race wins, but that's not going to guarantee him an F1 drive. The ultimate goal for Alex Albon is to get back on the grid for 2022. It's good that he still has his reserve driver role, but to be completely out the sport was very harsh. And I don't think Alexander Albon is mentally the strongest. So I think he's going to find it difficult to get back on the grid. Yuki Tsunoda had an amazing debut. Gasly is strong. How's he going to get back on the grid? Perez is going to do well. Alex Albon says his reserve and simulator duties with Red Bull will play a bigger role in getting him back on the grid than his DTM. His DTM is about keeping racing fit, racing sharp. Albon lost his seat alongside Max at Red Bull at the end of last season, failing to perform and consistently getting beat by Max. He was replaced by Mexican driver Sergio Perez. The Red Bull sister team has committed to Pierre Gasly and Yuki Tsunoda. Albon has been placed on the sidelines as the Milton Keynes-based reserve driver, but he will compete in DTM, racing an AF Course Ferrari GT3. Now, Albon has been doing some testing at Hockenheim, and yeah, it's going to be interesting to see how he does in another racing category. Albon, who completed this week 2 days of DTM testing at Hockenheim. Now, I still cannot believe that we don't have a German race in F1. He completed 2 days of testing at Hockenheim with his new team, and is determined to give it his all in the series, but the 25-year-old says his results will have little impact on regaining an F1 seat. On my role, it's more about my job, the best I can do in the championship itself. He's going to be around the F1 paddock, which is good, but I don't think this is good for Albon. Totally out the sport was harsh. He had to be dropped, and he was dropped, deservedly so, but he shouldn't have been out the sport completely. Albon clocked the 9th fastest time. Albon clocked in 9th fastest time on final day of testing at Hockenheim, with Mercedes entrants securing the top 6 places. He's enjoyed his experience in the category so far. Yeah. Seriously, it's keeping me racing fit, if you can call it. It's going to be interesting, actually, to see how he does, because, yeah. And I've got some information. Now, it's a strong field, is DTM. Like Paul Di Resta used to do it. We've got the likes of Sofia Flores, former F3 driver, Rockenfeller, Marco Whitman, Muller, Glock. These have been in ages. Albon, obviously he's got, I've got to say, the AlphaTauri kind of livery looks smart. Liam Lawson, Christian Klein, former Formula 1 driver. Arjun Mani, F2 driver last season. Gary Paffett, Daniel Juncadella. So, Alex Albon, number 23. It's going to be very interesting to see how he does. But he has categorically said his DTM results will not have an impact to basically get him back on the grid. It's going to be interesting, very interesting, to see if Alex Albon can get back on the grid. I think it's very, very harsh for him to be off the grid, but he does still have a reserve driver role. But take Nico Hülkenberg, for example. We know the talent that Hülkenberg possesses. and he struggled to get back on the grid. He's known as a super sub now, and he's just got a reserve driver role at Aston Martin. I think Alexander Albon will find it tough, and like I said in the start of the video, I don't think mentally he's up there. He's got a lot of backing from his good friend George Russell. But yeah, he's going to be determined, and he's going to be out to prove a point in DTM. And yeah, it will be very interesting to see how he does. But yeah, I'm struggling to see how Alex Albon is going to get back on the grid. You've got Gasly, who's a solid performer. Tsunoda is going to be very solid. Rookie of the year for me. And then you've got Max and Perez. So, does he need to step outside the Red Bull program? Try and go his own route? Maybe get a seat at... Maybe his one saving grace will be maybe Pierre Gasly will get pissed off that he's not getting promoted to the top team. And Pierre Gasly might... Now, this is a bit of F1 transfers. Ocon is out. Gasly goes to Alpine. And Albon can maybe go back to AlphaTauri. That is a possibility. Of course, it would work as well. Alpine, French driver in Gasly. And Gasly's not going to be happy, is he? Being at AlphaTauri every year. He wants to be in the top team. He's proved himself that he's a race winner. So yeah, Alexander Albon will be very interesting to see how he does in DTM. Comment down below, would love to know your thoughts. Can Albon get back on the grid? You look back, consistently he was pummeled by Max, week in, week out. Mentally, he was gone. Couldn't look after the tyres, couldn't qualify well. It was painful to watch. But yeah, I mean, he's a nice guy. He's a likeable guy, Albon, but this is F1. It's brutal. I said Gasly should be dropped. He was. I said Albon should go. He did, but I don't think he should have been out the sport. That was harsh. But Tsunoda, big things will happen for Yuki Tsunoda. Comment down below your thoughts on Alexander Albon. I would love to know. Adios. Adios, amigos.